Hi, ladies and gentlemen, Morino Ravenberg here. The topic that I'm going to discuss today is Enochian Magic. I'm going to simply let you guys know what my take is on Enochian Magic and what knowledge and experience I have on the subject, and last but not least, references. This video is going to be short because I don't have a lot of experience with Enochian Magic. Nevertheless, I do have some experience, okay? Um, Back in the day when I contemplated which magical system I wanted to utilize, I considered Enochian Magic, but the reason that I didn't continue with it, that the reason that Enochian Magic was one of the first systems that I brushed off, is due to its sheer complexity. Whenever just by looking at Enochian Magic, okay, and what its definition is and all of that, I immediately just withdrew myself. I was like, no, it's way too complex, way too much work. For those of you that don't know, obviously, Enochian Magic is simply a magical system in which one works with angels, simply put. Okay, as opposed to what I do, Western ceremonial magic. Within my magical system, you can work with practically any spirit, but generally speaking, you work with angels, with demons, with elemental spirits, and so on. The only spirits excluded from Western ceremonial are necromancy, so basically the dead, and any other spirit that might have lived. But for the rest, generally speaking, it's angels and demons, pagan gods, and elemental spirits. But within, and again, I'm not completely 100% sure on this. Keep in mind, this is just my opinion on the matter. I freely admit that. I'm not an expert on Enochian Magic, but this is based on my knowledge and experience. Enochian Magic, when I read upon Enochian Magic, okay, I automatically came to this conclusion that Enochian Magic is simply a magical system similar to Western ceremonial, but different in the way that you work with angels. You specifically work with celestial spirits. But even amongst celestial spirits, you have the holiest of ones, so basically good angels, and you have evil angels, malevolent angels. I don't know whether these angels also belong to the celestial hierarchy. I'm not going to get too much into that. That doesn't matter, okay, in the context of what it is that I'm discussing. But that, in a nutshell, is Enochian Magic, and you would have to learn Enochian language, which is the language that angels speak in heaven. It's like any other language, but it's very complex. And you'd have to make a bunch of items like tablets of unions and watchtowers and all of that. And there are a good deal of other steps that you need to perform to practice, to even start practicing Enochian Magic, okay? A good deal of other things that you need to memorize and process and all of that. So when I first saw Enochian Magic, I was like, no, it's not like like I was cheap, or like I was lazy, but when I had a proper overview of Enochian Magic, I was just like, nah, this is way too complex. Nah, I'm sorry, it's not okay. I'll look for other alternatives, okay, or not alternatives, but this magical system is not for me. I never had an interest in Enochian Magic because it just doesn't appeal to me as a whole. And then for it to be so complex, I thought to myself, forget about it. I don't want Enochian. Yeah, so that is Enochian Magic in a nutshell, okay. And like I said, even as a Western ceremonial magician, I am capable of working with spirits outside traditional boundaries, like I mentioned. So I don't just have to work with angels and demons and all of that. I have worked with a couple of Enochian spirits, but these spirits, I wasn't even aware of the fact that they were Enochian in nature. Until someone gave the idea and just said something along the lines. When I talked to a friend and I explained to him what these spirits were like, he was like, those sound like Enochian spirits. And I thought to myself, Eureka, you said something there. Yeah, they are Enochian in that sense. That's why, that explains everything. Okay. This is specifically regarding articles called The Higher Self or Astral Twin. In these articles, I'm going to link everything you need in the description below. In these articles, I simply discuss the fact that every person has a divine mirror image, or a divine entity that is the mirror of oneself. Basically, your other half that is supposed to complete you astrally and make you perfect. Basically, your higher self, like the name already says, your higher self is your higher self. It's simply a spirit that that was created by God specifically for the purpose of giving you everything that you lack in this current life cycle you find yourself in. And these spirits are Enochian, because all of them, I've summoned higher selves for other customers and so on. I think up to this date I have summoned 2 that I can remember for customers in the past. This was last year. One of them was lunar, the other one was Martian, and my own higher self is solar. And all of them had the following in common regarding appearance. They were all transparent. It was like the same way that water is transparent. They all assumed ghost-like shapes or figures. They all had coloring eyes. We're talking about differently colored eyes, and all of them displayed extreme character traits. Okay, and yeah, these guys are potent and powerful. I'm not messing around. Okay, when I summoned the Martian one for a customer of mine, he made me scrape my knee right before I bought things I bought offerings at local markets and so on. And I think I was also hit. I was almost hit by a car. I remember that. Almost hit by a car, and so on. And that's when my patron told me, "Hey, you know that he's the one trying to do this. He's trying to prevent you from summoning him." And when I summoned them, the guy was aggressive. The guy was like, "Okay, if you didn't have your patron by your side, I would definitely end you right here." And it's kind of ironic because the guy was like a little guy. We're talking about kind of like even smaller than a garden gnome, or a kind of like a small forest-like spirit-looking transparent creature. But he was aggressive as fuck, incredibly aggressive. My own thingy, my own higher self did the same thing. He made the power in the apartment building that I lived in last year go out twice, right after the ritual. And let's see, he still visits me every now and then, but I don't hear anything from him anymore. But again, I don't care about my higher self, to be honest, not in the negative way, but my feelings towards him are neutral. He has approached me a couple of times and asked me if I'd be interested in working with him, just in case a customer needs something or something like that. And I told him, okay, I'll keep you in mind, but honestly, I don't see it happening. It's kind of impractical. And he is solar, and he is incredibly strong. And I also notice all of those same traits. I notice that he possesses the character traits that I lack in my lifetime. His voice is nice and divine. It's strong, but it's not. It's strong, but it's not. But not forceful or anything like that. It has power, but power in a polite way. And that is something that I used to lack in any case back then. And so on. These are all things that I noticed, and I was like, okay, that's why, okay. And the lunar was for a customer of mine. When I invoked him, it was incredibly cold due to the whole water reference, since the moon rules water as an element. He had a waterish aura around him, and I felt incredibly tired after the ritual. And that customer of mine said that he experienced the same sensation, despite the fact that it was only afternoon and he felt completely beat. In any case, these entities are Enochian entities because they don't fall traditionally. My patron told me to. He didn't tell me that they were Enochian, but he simply told me he didn't know, but he simply told me that that these guys don't fall under archangels in a traditional way or anything like that within such a classical hierarchy. They're kind of like freelancers. They're within their own class. And that's when it dawned on me. I discussed all of these matters with someone, and that person told me, "Hey, they sound like Enochian entities." And I was like, "Yeah, you have a point there. These are Enochian entities. Yeah, that explains everything." It just escaped my mind because, again, I have no interest in Enochian magic. That sums up my experience with Enochian entities, and I also checked on their potency level. They are potent, obviously, based on my experiences alone, but I had it confirmed via divinatory methods, and they are quite the strong ones. But the reason that I don't work with Enochian entities, despite the fact that I can do so, is simply because I don't want to. They're not stronger than the guys that I'm used to working with, okay? It's more or less the same in terms of working with towards results. And it's not all about power. Any magician will tell you that. It's about application, practical application. You don't have to assign something to someone that works in a slow but powerful way when you want quick or fast when you want quick and fast results. So you want the results ASAP. No, that's impractical. Okay, that's like driving a bulldozer on a freeway. No, it's not going to work. You need a fast car on a freeway, not one not a Humvee-like car that is incredibly slow but can take multiple hits. Just as an example. Last but not least, reference material. I have read partially a couple of books on Enochian Magick. The only one that I went through completely, and the one that I suggest, again, this is my opinion, okay, based on from a neutral perspective, based on what I saw, this book is the most practical one from a neutral perspective, in my opinion, in terms of explaining everything to someone that wants to work with that wants to study and practice Enochian Magick, just in a step-by-step process. I don't know if there are other books out there and that are just as practical, but I'm simply personally going to recommend this one. Anybody that's seriously interested can simply check out the summary or the back cover and simply check out the book. It's called, let's see, hold just a second. What's it called again? Yeah, it's called Enochian Vision Magick by Lon Milo Duquette. Again, that's Enochian Vision Magick by Lon Milo Duquette. You can. I'm also going to link that in the description below. Okay, to a link that will lead to a link where you can buy an online store where you can buy it. I think it's going to be Amazon or something, but in any case, a place where you can buy it online. Yeah, Lon Milo Duquette is the writer, and I like that book, despite the fact that I had zero interest. Okay. The book still appealed to me. That's why it's the only Enochian book that I finished. I read through everything and I was like, okay, everything is neat and overviewable, and nothing's boring, no baggage or as little baggage as possible, based on my opinion. So the book simply personally appealed to me. This is the only book, well, almost the only book. I only have 2 books in my collection on Enochian Magick, but this is the only book that I remember, okay, having on Enochian Magick. So that speaks for itself. In any case, that is it on Enochian Magick, and like I said, the divinatory methods that I used, okay, confirm Enochian Magick's potency. Enochian Magick is not stronger than Western ceremonial magic, to put it that way, but it's just as strong. Let's just leave it at that. And that's the reason for why I don't work with Enochian spirits. It's simply not necessary. But based on my experiences and what I've told you guys, what I've explained to you guys a minute or 2 ago, yeah, Enochian spirits will definitely tumble your life upside down, or they will at least leave in a positive, constructive way, depending. But what I can say for sure is that they'll definitely leave a lasting impression on you. Enochian spirits, they are definitely an interesting bunch. Bye.